What's up, everybody?
Hey,
What's
hi,
going
bro.
on? How's it going, man? Welcome to Open Office Hours. This is the Artist of Data Science Open Office Hours. We're just going to get started here in a couple of minutes, so sit tight and we'll get going. All right. Got some people coming in. Right on. So, check it out, guys. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to pull up a really insightful post by my friend Giuseppe Bonacorso. I thought it was really interesting and insightful what his definition of a mentor is. And I think that it bears sharing with everybody here. He's talking about what are the right and wrong behaviors of a data science mentor. I 100% agree with every one of these points. We're neither a professor nor a master. We're more like a colleague or a friend that's here to support you, but not a repository of all knowledge. And I definitely agree with Giuseppe. If Giuseppe is saying that he's not a master professor, then shoot, by no means am I one. Also, we're not a substitute for books, Stack Overflow, or whatever help that you can find for yourself autonomously. So I like what he says here about what you achieve without any direct help is a new summit that you've reached. So that's pretty awesome. We're here to just share our experiences, not necessarily all our knowledge. And I'm definitely not going to be influencing any important decisions, but I will talk through them with you. And I will be asking questions just as, if you guys have questions for me and I don't understand the question, I'm going to throw it right back at you guys. Um, so, yeah, that being said, I'm going to put everybody on mute. All right. So if you have a question, what I would like you to do is actually type out your question and put it into the chat. And that is going to hold your place in line. And that way I could also field questions. So please be as clear with your question as possible. And I'm only going to be answering questions that are put into the chat. So go ahead, take a minute or two, think about your questions. What is it that I could assist you with? And then we will get the show on the road. I will do this since Ofar was here first. Let's go ahead and just get the ball rolling with you. Everybody else, please, if you have a question, go ahead and put it right into the chat. Uh, I hope I'm saying it right. Is it Ofer, Uffer, Kari,
Yeah, it is Alfar.
Alfer? Right on, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah. Thanks a
Awesome.
lot, and thanks a lot for hosting this.
Oh, my pleasure, man. How could I help you?
Yeah. Yeah. Just I feel I'm actually like I'm trying to break into data science because my current job is kind of mostly like in the social science, like doing econometrics and those type of like causal inference work, and then try to break into like more like a data science space. And yeah, so I just like I've been attending webinar. I've been like attending like a lot of like events to kind of like broaden my perspective. And I just like, yeah, I just feel like since you're hosting this, and yeah, so I feel like yeah, this may be this will be a very good opportunity for me to get to speak to you. And yeah, I just have like one questions, because I think like you have you're running your podcast, and then you also have like a lot of experience in this field. What are the common mistake of like aspiring data scientists that you have observed, and then like you see like, people should not be making this mistake, it's something that you observe across your like your experiences. So I think like maybe like you can share it with us, and then so that we don't repeat those mistakes.
It's a bit of a broad question. Common mistakes in any particular domain, any particular application, a mistake in what respect? Can you
Yeah,
kind of dig
I
down a
think
little bit?
more, maybe it's more like in networking, maybe like
In networking,
in
okay.
networking with like with fellow data scientists, with like job search, that kind of stuff. And also maybe it can also be like in technical, maybe you have worked with a junior personnel, and then they make like this this mistake, they right away, I don't know. So it can be anything. Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with the networking and go ahead, keep yourself unmuted,
Okay.
Offer. And by the way, everybody else, please, if you guys have questions, type them out, put them into the chat. That way I can get to your question in turn. But when it comes to networking, so I've had, I've done talks across the city here, and I've been at other networking events myself, and this happens every time. There's at least two or three people who do this, who will literally follow you around with a resume in hand and just ask if you have any openings, job openings, and they'll just like follow you around for the rest of the conference. Don't do that. Don't be that guy,
Mm.
right? So I talk about this a lot actually. The podcast I released earlier this week on Monday with Allison Grade, and she had a wonderful 5-step approach for networking. And I'm actually going to be writing about this pretty soon, but let me pull it up and I'll share with you what I've written from this. So give me 1 second because I absolutely love her framework. I'm gonna pull this up. Yeah, because networking is a tricky thing. All right, cool. So I'm just pulling up Allison Grade's book here. If I can find it. Sorry. There it is. All right. Cool. Yeah. So you guys are going to enjoy this one. And it's super simple. It's super easy to follow framework. Um, and it's pretty much this, right? So it's a series of 5 questions you can ask when you're at a networking type of event. And then based on the responses that a person gives, then you know what to do next, right? So first thing's easy, right? If you meet somebody, just ask, where are you based? How does this manifest itself in a data science conference? Oh, hey, where are you visiting from? Are you from out of town? Right? Just a simple opener, like she says, to get the conversation doing. Obviously, what do you do if you're at a data science conference, a data science networking event? That might be a bit um, of a redundant question to ask, but I would instead ask, oh, hey, what type of problems are you working on? What aspect of data science are you interested in? Are you data engineer, machine learning engineer, data scientist, data analyst, right? And this, how does that work exactly? How does that play itself out for data science events? Well, instead of how does that work exactly, you can say, oh, well, how do you enjoy that? How do you like that? What challenges are you facing in that type of a position, right? And then ask why they're there. And then the fifth step probably doesn't count for data scientists. Who can I introduce you to? Well, maybe it might. It might. But yeah, this general 5-step framework, I think, is a really good way to just not be awkward in a networking event. And it's really just boils down to just being interested about the person that you're talking to.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, just being genuinely interested in the work they do. Because you got to remember, like, the goal of networking is not to ultimately get you a job. Like, that might be a byproduct of networking, but the purpose of networking is to build a relationship with the person.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Thanks. That's really helpful.
Okay, awesome. And then you had a second question on top of that.
No, I think my most main concern is always like on really how to navigate the job market, because like I'm currently based in the US and I'm an international, and then like job search is challenging even in normal time. So now
Yeah.
it is like, now there is a COVID, and yeah, I think like my second question, I think like you
Let me just dispel that myth real quick. Um, my other mentorship platform that I'm a part of, the one that's hosted by Kyle McHugh, is Data Science Dream Job. I'm the principal mentor there, and this summer we've had like 10 or 15 students land jobs. Um,
Okay.
and every week my students are getting interviews, and every week they're, coming in and sharing about all these different opportunities that they're having come up. And I think it's just a result of taking action.
Mm,
So if right now you aren't having any opportunities pop up, assess whether or not you're actually taking action,
mm,
right? So are you going out there and actually submitting applications, or are you not even searching for a job, right? And if you do go out there and submit a application, are you following up with them? Are you
mm,
reaching out to people on LinkedIn, right?
mm,
Because you can't simply just submit your resume and hope and pray that it gets picked up by somebody on the other end. There's still work to do in
mm.
between that. So uh,
Yeah.
it's all about creating opportunities for yourself in that
Yes.
respect.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. Yeah, I think that there are some other questions on the chat. Maybe, yeah, you can.
No, he had another question that was really good too. I just can't remember what it was.
No, I think yeah, I think the first question is like a common mistake, especially
Okay,
on the
cool.
on the networking. My second question is actually like how to network effectively. But I think you can address that
Okay.
question like later on. Yeah,
Oh,
just
okay. Yeah, definitely. Well, feel free to hang out, and thanks for asking.
yeah.
Um, Gunjin just saying thank you for starting this. Hey man, it's my pleasure. Yeah, so as part of data science dream job, I have office hours like 6 hours a week. Um, so I wanted to help more people, so I figured if I just carve out maybe an hour of my time and try to give back to the community, help people out, I'd be happy to. But keep in mind, I'm by no means am I an expert in anything. I'm just I'm just a dude who works as a data scientist. Like that's pretty much it. So thank you for being here, and thank you for entrusting me with your time. Sanyam Oberai has a very detailed question. Um, so Sanyan is a data scientist with 3 years of hands-on work experience in the field of machine learning. He or she is looking to transition to NLP and computer vision. They've read quite a bit about both fields through courses and books, and have recently started working on a couple of NLP projects at their work, at their current job, and they're taking on freelancing jobs in the same domain. Awesome. Well, you should check out the episode I released on Monday um, about freelancing with Allison Grade. So you got a couple of questions related to the same. Should I gain expertise in just one of these two areas, NLP and vision, or would it be helpful to gain knowledge and hands-on experience in both? Quite interested in further studies, so it would be beneficial from career standpoint to go for masters. So would it be beneficial to go for masters or pursue masters through an online university, since it gives you the advantage of not compromising on your work? All right. Um, let's talk about this. So you're wondering if you have to pick between NLP and computer vision. Why is it that you think that you have to pick between the two?
Uh, Hey Harpreet, this is Sayam. So I'm logging in from India, and I really appreciate you taking out the time to conduct this session
My
to
pleasure.
guide us. Yeah. So the reason that I think that I may have to choose one of the two is because of the rapid pace with which both the fields are evolving, and day in and day out, new models and new architectures are coming in both the fields, and it's really hard for one to keep a pace with both the fields at the same time, uh, as well as maintain quite an in-depth knowledge about both the fields.
All right. So
So
pause there real quick. So let me ask you where it is that you see yourself then. Okay, so you're saying both fields are very rapid, they're moving very quick, and they're changing at such rapid pace that you're worried that you won't be able to keep up with one or the other. So where are you trying to be in your career? Are you trying to remain in a individual contributor type of role? Are you trying to move up through leadership and management? Like where do you see yourself in the next few years? Like in terms of the hierarchy, where do you want to be?
Sure. So given my current work experience, I have only 3 years of work ex. So for the next couple of years at least, I see myself as an individual contributor. Post that, I definitely see myself moving up the corporate ladder and transitioning into certain management kind of roles within
Okay.
the same field. Yeah.
All right, great. So if you now let's take this one step back. Now let's think about the principles for NLP and computer vision. Do you think fundamentally the way you solve an NLP problem or the way you solve a computer vision problem is going to change just the principles of your approach, or is it only the tools that change?
Primarily the tools, but yeah, the entire end-to-end pipeline. I mean, much of it remains similar, right?
Yeah.
The cleansing part remains similar.
Mhm.
Similarly, the augmentation part remains similar. Model
And
training and
and
deploying
you're
remains
you're
similar.
confident in your ability to pick up new things quickly if you need to.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
So it's not like if you take a NLP job and you're using one particular tool that overnight, as soon as a new particular tool rolls out, that whatever organization you're in is rapidly going to adopt that tool, or do you think they'll stay with whatever solutions they have now and either adopt the new tool or not adopt the new tool?
So, basis my current work experience in working for an MNC, I see they're a bit slow moving forward with the cutting edge tools that are coming in into this field.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, I expect there to be certain inertia with regards to MNCs, at least adopting those tools.
And that same inertia is present in many organizations, right? So even though there might be a seemingly rapid pace in the way the tools change, the way you solve the problem itself doesn't really change much. So when you look at it from that perspective, that it doesn't become as mutually exclusive as you're painting it now, right? So if you have a passing interest in both, I would say do what's more delightful to you. Do you enjoy NLP more than computer vision? Do you enjoy computer vision more than NLP? Or do you like them both, right? Because they don't have to be mutually exclusive. Um, and if you're looking to go up to a managerial role in a couple of years, then you don't have to worry about keeping up with the new stuff because that's what your team would be responsible for. So in that respect, I'd say if you enjoy both of them, pursue both of them. But like, I, I, I don't think this is necessarily like a binary, you know, problem. Like you don't necessarily need to pick just one and pursue that one. Because even if we abstract away one level further and ignore the NLP or computer vision aspect of it, it's still a machine learning problem. And generally that pipeline is still going to be the same at that higher abstract level. If you just move up a couple of levels, if that makes sense. Um,
Sure.
so yeah, so I guess my response to that. So your question is, would it be helpful to gain knowledge and hands-on experience in both? I think the more diversified you can make your skill set, the more invaluable you make yourself as an employee. So rather than, I'm a big fan of generalizing, not specializing. So I think if I was as smart as you were, I would take both of them. Like I would study up on both of them and have both of those skills in my talent stack.
Sure. That definitely helps. So thanks a lot for that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the other question here is interest in further studies. Awesome. Would it be beneficial from a career standpoint to go for master's or pursue master's through a online university since it gives you the advantage of not compromising on work? Yeah. So if you're genuinely interested in learning more, and that's like you're doing it just for the sake of self-education because you thoroughly enjoy it, by all means, like go for it, man. Go for a master's. Like it's all about educating yourself and getting better. Um, and you're wondering if you should do it online or in person, whatever's going to fit your lifestyle best. So if you are like if you want to continue working and don't want to relocate for school, then yeah, definitely do it online. If you can forego a couple of years of no income. If you can go through that, then go to a in-person university. But I don't know how in-person universities are going to be nowadays. Um, but yeah. So I mean, that's kind of a. It's not really an answer, but I would say for that question, think about what it is that you value. So talk to me here. What is it that it's like? Do you have enough money stacked up for a few years that if you wanted to quit working and go back to school, that you'd be
So
okay financially?
yeah, so I plan to avail again a loan just for my future education for my further studies, and to repay that loan in moving forward in the future. Uh, yeah.
So do you think that not having a master's is that causing any impediment to your career advancement currently?
And that's a very relevant question. Since I've been planning to switch my job roles I mean, from my present company, uh, and I've been applying for a couple of other jobs as well within the same field, as I mentioned. I see many of the companies have listed masters as a qualification there on their job roles. Although I do currently hold a master's, but that's an MBA. And I would want to, given that many of the companies are looking for a masters in a computing field or in a statistical kind of a field, that is why I am contemplating whether I should go for a master's or not.
Hmm. Yeah. Um, so just like I'm not sure what the job market is like in India, but like let's say if this was kind of this like Canada or the States. I'm based in Canada. Um, if you've got a significant number of years of work experience, like you mentioned, you got 3 years of work experience, and you're quick to pick up things, and you've got a few solid projects that people can look at that are artifacts that demonstrate your technical capability, um, then you having a master's in that field probably wouldn't be as much of a deterrent, because as you go through the interview process, if you're able to answer all their questions sufficiently and provide really solid answers, and you're able to demonstrate that even though you don't have a master's in that particular field, that you can hold your water, hold your own, then it's all good. But again, I'm not sure if it's different in India, if they just don't even look at people who don't have masters in that particular field. So um, if it was
Yeah,
me,
that's
go on. Sorry.
yeah. Sorry, that's the point I'm most apprehensive about, because many of the resumes would be shortlisted by let's say certain tools, wherein there would be a qualification criteria in place. Let's say basis a master's in a computing field or in a technical field. I may not just land any interviews. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll just say it straight from like my perspective. If I was in your shoes, given what everything you've told me, I would not want to stop working. Like I would still want to work, because that experience working in the industry, like that's super invaluable. Like it's really, really like there's no substitute for it, right? So I would keep working, but then maybe pursue an online master's degree in my free time. That way it's like I don't have to not have income, and I don't have to be detached from the industry. Yeah. So hopefully that's helpful, man.
Yeah, that that's definitely helpful. So thanks a lot for that. Yeah.
Yeah, cheers, man. Um, Thanks for the question. So let's we got, I think, a Schaub going into a data analytics interview for the first time. Right on. What are some of the things that stand out and compensate perhaps for a lack of practical experience? Do you have any projects?
Yeah. So I just wanted to brief that out, because if I gave you a lot of details, I think that might have frazzled you. But essentially, just to like summarize, I'm from London, UK,
Mm-hmm.
and I basically have 1 year's experience, I would say, pretty much.
Okay.
So like going from, let's say, from just data collection, organizing surveys at that basic level, to then progressing through like agent. I don't know if you're familiar with SEO agencies, digital marketing.
I'm not too familiar with that.
But essentially, it's just like collating different metrics, like web analytics. Let's say, like you have sessions, e-commerce revenue, just
Mhm.
doing that those type of dashboard reporting. And then another one is like web scraping in a sense, so like getting information from data. So I mean online, sorry. So that's essentially just using Python to get the information. So yeah, just like a combination of Python and SQL, you can say, like over the last years or so. Not just from practical as well, but mainly from projects because I've been learning those two for the last 2 years, if that makes sense. But essentially, the real world practical I haven't really done. I've obviously done a bit more Python, but not SQL per se. But if that just clarifies a bit of my background, roughly, in the sense that I have more project experience, like from my personal projects rather than practical experience.
Yeah, I think honestly, like personal projects, they can substitute for practical experience if they're really well done personal projects, right? So, because I've seen personal projects that are just like really haphazardly and not really put together that well. But if you've got a personal project that is a deliverable that you would be proud to deliver for your full-time job, like if it's on
Mm.
that level of quality, then it could substitute for a lack of that practical experience for sure. Um, I'm not sure if that answered your question, but
No,
feel free.
so yeah,
Yeah,
just to elaborate a bit more further on that. I don't know if you're familiar with Udacity.
yeah, yeah.
So that's basically what I did essentially for those projects using
Okay,
like Udacity and their help and services. And
yeah.
yeah, I
So
brushed up on that.
all those online courses, they're great to learn from, and it's great that they provide you with like blueprints for how to create a project of your own. But I think the best learning comes from creating a project that is really original to you based on your interest, right? So you said you mentioned you had experience doing, I believe, web analytics, digital analytics,
Yeah, yeah,
something of that
okay,
nature,
yeah,
right?
yeah, pretty
So
much.
if there's any way that you can source data regarding web analytics, uh, and pull that data from the internet, maybe through some API, whatever, and do some data cleaning with it, do some data manipulation,
Mm,
summarize, aggregate, organize, and then like make it a real original project, come up with a hypothesis, test your hypothesis, present your findings, right? Um, and have what you've use what you've learned in those online courses as a blueprint or a template of knowledge, and just have that project kind of like as a capstone. I guess that's what we call in the States and Canada, like a capstone project that takes all the skills that you learned in that Udacity
mm.
course and you're applying it to a original brand new problem statement.
Yeah, but so the second part is just to elaborate on specifically that lack of practical because I've been doing a lot of so I've been getting quite a few feedbacks and from interviews and stuff like first stage or second stage sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the feedback is generic. Like when I ask, it's just like, oh, compared to other candidates, you lacked some specific experience, or that with the job description, let's say one of them was data quality analytics, for example, and essentially you weren't really excited about the data engineering aspects, but you are more excited about the NLP and AI, which I think is a dumb excuse anyway, but that's
Yeah.
what he said.
Yeah. Well, I mean, first things first, man, just make sure that you're applying for the roles that are genuinely exciting to you. So
Yeah,
limit the scope of roles that are genuinely exciting to you. And then when you do get a call back, let's say you apply online, you get a call back for this particular job, then the next step would be to treat that job as like, sorry, that job posting, as if it was like a syllabus, right? And what I mean by treat like as a syllabus, like go through there, take like a freaking highlighter and highlight every combination of words that don't make sense to you. Like, oh, I don't know what this particular thing means or what that thing means, and
okay.
start looking them up and start developing mental models for yourself so that you can research about it, get a little bit educated on that. So when the question comes up, you're ready to talk about it. And even if you haven't done that particular thing explicitly through your work, you can at least say, you know what, haven't done it during work, but I will tell you what I do know about it and shout it out. And if I was to have to do this thing at work, this is how I would go about doing it. Right. And
Yeah,
that's like probably the biggest thing you do is literally like treat that job posting like it's a syllabus for some exam, straight up. And then when it comes back to time to like ask for feedback, let's say unfortunately if you do get rejected, like just make sure you're asking feedback in a direct way and be just overly grateful for the opportunity. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to meet with me. I really appreciate it. Totally understand that there's not a fit between my current skill set, what you guys are looking for, but I do appreciate the time that you guys took to speak to me. I look forward to hearing about all the awesome things you guys are going to do in the future. Would you be able to share with me what I could do to become a better candidate in the future? Just
Okay,
maybe
I
a story
see.
like
Fair
that.
enough. Just elaborate the middle. I usually just say the last part, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's a good point. So, but I think I might as just say this as well for other people here, just in general. One valid point was actually that I wasn't pausing enough, and like sometimes when it says like, so tell me in this situation what a negative experience, and then I will speak very rapidly sometimes to that response, and I think it was valid because they said that you going forward you should take a pause and breathe more, and so I think that's fair enough. That was a valid point, and
Have
so
you
ever
heard of
since like 2 months I've been doing that.
have you heard of like the star format?
Yeah,
Situation.
yeah, yeah. That's what we use in the UK as well, anyway.
Yeah. So like the other big thing is, look through the commonly asked behavioral questions. You can find them anywhere and literally just come up with a Word document for each question. Like type out S, underline it, and then a few bullet points. T, bullet points, and then just practice
Mm,
telling the story. And how you're going to practice telling the story is there's a situation when dot 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 dot. My task was to do dot 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 dot. The actions I took was dot 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 dot, and as a result, dot 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 dot. Right, and bake that into how you respond to questions, and just use that as a guidepost. Um, like literally, just bake that into your answer every time. But that way
yeah,
you
okay,
stay on
cool.
track. That way you stay on track. That way you're like, okay, well, situation, blah, blah. I've been talking forever, but I haven't fucking said task yet. Oh shit. All right. But my task was to, and then you keep talking, and you're like, all right. And then if you don't hear yourself say action or analysis or whatever, then it's a cue. Oh shit, now I gotta tell them about this, right? So it's kind of a mental waiting.
Hello. I don't think I can hear you, mate. No, I can't. I don't know what happened there. No, I can't. I don't know. That's quite strange. I can't hear you now.
Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah, I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
I hit the cord. I hit the cord on my microphone, and that caused it to blank out. My apologies. What was
No,
the, what was the last thing you heard me say?
um, it was about like if you missed a point on A or R, then go back to it.
Yeah, it's literally just like a roadmap to keep yourself on point, right? So by baking into like those words, situation, task, action, result in every story that you tell, then you're keeping yourself on track and you're just getting right to the point without losing anybody in a stream of words.
But going back to that, like just quickly, how would you revise that? Let's say like once a weekend or whatever. What would you?
So this is gonna sound really weird, but I'll share my story with you anyways. So I mean, I haven't really been in the interview game for a while, but when I was in the interview game, and by interview game I mean like I had multiple interviews a
Mm.
week, just going insane. I would just practice interview questions in my head while I was going on a walk, right? Uh,
Okay, fair enough.
so what could help is first of all, look up the people on LinkedIn, right? See if you can find videos of them so you can figure out what they sound like, what their mannerisms are. Drive by the place that you're going to work at. Imagine what it would look like inside of there, and then just take a few minutes, like 20, 30 minutes, just sit back and just imagine yourself in that interview and imagine them asking you that question. Okay, well, if they ask me this question, this is how I'm going to respond. And if I respond this way, they're probably going to ask this. So then I'm going to say this. And then if that's not satisfying enough, then I'm going to come back and give this example. And then they're going to say, like, have that imaginary conversation in your head with the person and walk through that before you actually get to the interview. And you do that enough times, it's going to like, there's a cognitive trick, but your brain's not going to know the difference. So that when you're there, it's going to feel like you're already been there before.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, yeah, those are good tips. Thank you very much for sharing those, Harpreet.
Yeah, no problem. All right, so we got Gunjan. Let me read this real quick. Gunjan is saying he's got a year and a half of experience as a data analyst from his home country. Gunjan Sharma is probably from Punjab. I was working majorly with Excel, Oracle BI, and Tableau, automating dashboards, preparing reports, KPIs. After that, you shifted to banking, which is not really data analysis. Now you're in Canada. Welcome to Canada, my friend. And once again, you want to go back to data analysis. Do you have a chance? What are the broad fields or job positions in data analysis? How should I work towards it? All right. Do you have a chance? Absolutely, man. Everybody has a chance. You got a chance. You got
Good
a
to hear
chance.
that.
You got a chance. Everybody has a chance.
Yeah.
What are the broad fields or job postings in data analysis? This is a great question. So, sorry, were you going to say something?
No, go on,
Okay.
please.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I think what people tend to do is when they're looking for jobs, they'll just type in like data scientist or data analyst. But on LinkedIn, you could actually search for the particular skill instead of the actual job title, because there's a bunch of job titles out there
Yes, exactly.
that
Yeah,
that aren't even, they don't even say data science or data analyst, but when you look at the job description, you're like, oh, well, clearly that's what this is, right?
exactly.
So I think it was, do you know Eric Weber from LinkedIn?
Sorry?
Do you know who Eric Weber is from LinkedIn?
No.
Let's I'll pull him up real quick. So he had like this awesome list of like data science related roles that didn't even involve the name data science in the job title. So let's see if we can
Okay.
pull that up. Definitely follow Eric. He's got a lot of amazing. Am I sharing? What do you see on my screen right now?
It's loading. Yeah, you've shared your,
Okay.
I
Great.
can see your profile now. Yeah.
Awesome. So where in Canada are you?
I'm in Vancouver.
Oh, very nice.
Yes.
I
So my
am.
husband was earlier in Winnipeg, so
That's where I live.
I know.
I live in
So
Winnipeg.
for 2-3 months, I was there in Winnipeg as well. Then I shifted to Vancouver. Yeah.
In the winter?
No, in the summers, luckily. Yep.
Winter's nice. I like winter.
But I saw the winters in Winnipeg for sure. I came there in February, so it was
Oh, that's
quite
like,
white and
yeah,
temperature was minus 15, 20. So
that's like the heart of winter. All right. So for everybody listening on the podcast, so this episode, this is going to be released as a podcast episode. Just heads up. What we're doing right now is we're going to Eric Weber's LinkedIn, and Eric Weber very recently posted a really insightful LinkedIn post where he was talking about. You could see here just the quality of all his posts are just amazing. A lot of great insights. If you're not
yeah,
following him, please do. But he had this really cool post about all these data related jobs, but none of them had the title data scientist. And
okay.
I'm hoping that we can easily pull that up just so we can kind of give you an idea. And if that doesn't work out, then we're going to do something else. Man, was it that long ago
So
that he posted this? Sorry, go on.
I have been following Kyle Pugh, and even he puts a lot of interesting articles out there. So
Yeah, definitely, man. I
yeah.
100% vouch for Kyle. He is my good friend. Hopefully, you guys follow me as well. Um, my numbers on my engagement aren't that high, but hey, it is what it is. So I can't find his post because I guess it must have been a really long time ago. So we'll scroll for just a little bit more, just a little bit more.
Moreover,
Nothing.
I wanted to know this as well.
Mhm.
Like, so I'll give you a brief background about myself. I have done my master's in economics, so I had statistics and maths, all that as my subjects. And soon after that, I worked as a data analyst for one and a half year, where I would say that it was just like learning ABC for me. It was just a starting point, and I actually didn't even knew anything about Excel. I was just new to it, so I learned a lot of Excel there. Then we were working on Oracle BI and then Tableau, and most of it was data visualization, then preparing dashboards, uh, automating
So
reports and all that.
have you kept up? Have you brushed up on the skill? Have you done any like side projects? Because like the biggest benefit for you would be to kind of practice those skills again and be able to demonstrate those in the form of projects.
Yeah.
So that's gonna
So
be the biggest thing.
mhm. So I have been doing, because after that I shifted to banking, but I still had that love for data analysis and data. And in India, it was not that easy for me to shift back to data. So for just to keep myself up and keep trying, I did Tableau course online. Then I did an advanced Excel course also online. Then I am doing SQL as well. And I have recently got to know about this. There's a website called Makeover Monday.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they put in the data and you can use it. It's very brief and a very small data, but you can see how people are doing so much with that data. So I have started doing that. So that is it. That is where I have reached till now. So I don't I get confused at how should my path be, and how interview is like a distant dream for me right now. So I just want to
I mean,
see. Yep. Yep.
I would say apply anyways. Like always be applying.
Hmm.
ABA,
Okay.
always be applying
Okay.
because you don't want to shut yourself off from opportunities just because you don't think you're ready, right? So
Yeah.
even if you don't think you're ready, you should still
Hmm.
apply and still go for it. Like there's nothing stopping you from doing that.
Hmm.
But the most important thing is building out projects, and namely building
Okay.
out projects that you find interesting, that are genuinely interesting to you.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
make sure that you
So
identify. Yeah.
because nowadays there's so much of information there, and so many things going on. So if like you're suggesting that I should start with doing some projects, so
Mhm.
from where should I do it? From where
Yes,
will I get it?
exactly. I
Yep.
was right about to get there. So what kind of industry do you want to work in? Do you want to work in healthcare? Do you want to work in e-commerce? Do you want to work in manufacturing? Do you want to work in uh,
So
tech?
I have started looking out, and I want that if I could use my finance knowledge as well. So if I could get some profile where my finance knowledge as plus my data analysis could be used, that would be best for me. But
Mhm.
as of now, I I actually don't have that much of knowledge right now.
Yeah.
But I am trying to find something like that, because I am from a commerce and a economics background. So I think that will be best suited for me, and that would actually be of interest for me. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you can try to find a project for yourself
Hmm.
and
Yep.
maybe even find
Please.
some data for a project. So for
Hmm.
everybody listening right now on the podcast, this is also going to be put on YouTube. So if you guys want, you can go on YouTube and see what I'm doing. But pretty much, I'm going to open up a Google search and we're going to do a Google advanced search. Have you ever heard of Google advanced search?
No.
Okay. So if you just go to
Is it
advanced,
semantic search?
uh, yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Oh,
So go to Google Advanced Search. So we'll start from the very basics, right? So we want to
Okay.
try to find keywords, right? So right now, what are the words that you want? You're looking for data science projects and you're
Yes.
looking for in banking and finance, right?
Exactly.
So we could put data science project and then put it in quotes and then banking and finance, right? Um, this exact phrase, maybe you will want to see a case study,
Hmm.
right? And the reason we want to see case studies is we want to see, are there any um, interesting use cases that we might not be aware of. Let's see what other people are doing. Let's see what data scientists are doing in this space, what type of problems they're working with. Any of these words, let's just put in visualization. How about that? And let's see what results we come up with. So you get a number of results. Top hit is how data science and finance has increased the industry's profitability, right?
Okay.
And kind of just read through a bunch of
Mm-hmm.
case studies, use cases like this, so that
Mm-hmm.
you can understand, okay, how's the banking industry using data science? How are
Using
banking,
data science.
yeah.
Yep.
And if you read enough, you'll start putting some dots together, like, start connecting some dots, right? So that's step one. Try to figure out what kind of problems they're solving, right? Step two is going to be, all right, great. Now I need data, right? So we could type in, maybe we can go the World Bank, right? And open data. And we know that the World Bank has open data, right? Number of different types of data sets that you can dig into that, that might not necessarily be banking finance related, like in like private banking, private finance in that sense, but it's still data, it's still live data, and you could still do interesting visualizations with it, right? In fact,
Exactly.
you might even go to data.worldbank.org and just read through a bunch of interesting use cases and look for something yourself. Like you see here, they've got the open data catalog, they got data bank, they got the microdata library, so on and so forth. So you can just look at the open data catalog and see what they have. And now all of a sudden you're armed with a number of data sources. You're armed with an idea for what types of analysis are typically being performed by data scientists with finance and banking type of data. And the most important ingredient is like your own curiosity, right? And now you merge those things together and you can apply that through Tableau or through Python or whatever, just through a project, and host that wherever you like, whether it's public.tableau or GitHub or whatever. But that's pretty much how you work through a project idea type of thing. So it begins with just trying to read and understand what is going on in your industry of interest, and just finding data and executing.
Yep. Great. One more question. So, if I want to start with something like the things that I already know, I can work on and do, like you're saying, that do some research work and try to visualize and try to do things yourself and do some projects. So if I ask you that what should be the, I don't want to do everything. I don't want to learn every single language or everything out there. But if you jot down 2, 3 languages, if I must say, that I should do, what would you suggest?
Is this your roundabout way of asking me if you learn Python or R?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, because that is what I keep hearing all the time. Yeah.
Explicitly said, don't ask me that question, but I'll answer it anyways. Just learn Python. Just learn Python. I mean, why not?
Okay.
I'm saying that from I'm sorry if you are listening and you're an R user, or if you're watching this on YouTube and you're an R user, like I apologize. I like Python. But if you have time, why not learn them both, right? Like I definitely use R when I have to. It's not like I'm against it, but I'll use it when I have to. But if you're just starting out, I would say Python, um, just because I personally like it. No other reason than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Awesome. We got Harkirat is a recent data science graduate, currently interviewing at a company right on, and they're heavily testing on case studies. Okay. Her question is, how do you solve cases during the interview where you have little or no domain knowledge about the cases? Come from a non-technical background with only data science internship experience. All right. How's it going, Harkirat? Do you want to unmute?
Yeah, hi Harpreet.
Hi.
Yeah, so the cases that I'm talking about is it's not even those open-end questions. They are basically testing on, they'll give you a data set, few columns, and what features would you like to experiment with, and what kind of feature engineering that you would like to solve. So I've already given 2 rounds of interviews, but I felt that I could have definitely done better. It's just that within that 20 minutes time of frame of time, I'm not able to come up with some personalized features or think out of the box and come up with features. So so far I've been lucky enough to get questions that I have some knowledge about, but there's a lot of I would say problems out there, like recommender systems, then computer vision problems, different kinds of classification problems. So how do I prepare in like few days of in the next few days for the next interview round?
Yeah, so again, treat the job posting itself like a syllabus. So look through there and see exactly what it is that they're like specifying in that job description, right? Um, so that's step one. Make sure you totally treat the job description, job posting like it is a syllabus. Step two is maybe you can look up, if you have the names of the data scientists that you'll be interviewing with, maybe you can look them up on LinkedIn. Take a look at their about section. Take a look at what they have written as their job description on LinkedIn. Is there any indication that they're working with a particular type of tool or particular type of tool for projects, right? Because some people will put straight up on their LinkedIn the different projects they worked on, right? And so that could be an indication as to what's in their wheelhouse, what they're comfortable asking. Um, Third is doing something very similar to what we just did with Gungeon here, which we could do again right now, actually. So just for illustrative purposes, I'm going to pull up LinkedIn again. So, or Garrett, what is the industry that last interview is at? Do you want to just tell me the job company or just industry or whatever you want to share?
So I think they are more into it's a startup, so they are working on providing AI or AI ML based products to companies. Like one of the product was where they try to recommend like what a particular customer is going to order based on their past orders using facial recognition. So these are the kind of products that they launch for different companies that are AI ML based.
That sounds super interesting. They're using facial recognition to recommend products that a customer.
Also their past orders, and they recognize the person through their facial recognition, I believe. Like this
Yeah,
is the yeah.
super interesting.
This is the product that they launched for Nestle, so even I was quite intrigued by their
Yeah, that's
product.
really cool. Um, all right, so you said the interview is coming up, or you've already had it?
So I already gave 3 rounds, and next
Okay.
round it will be another round of case study, and I really need to stand out in order to crack this one. So
Okay.
yeah.
So let's deconstruct this a little bit more. So, what did they give you any indication on what you might be covering in this last interview? Like, did they explicitly say, "Oh, we're going to do a case study"
Yes,
or anything
yes.
like that?
So it's
Okay,
hmm.
go on, tell me.
Yeah, so it's going to be data science case study. Last one, what they mentioned, it's going to be around regression and classification. So it was more of a statistical question that I was tested on. So I analyzed my answers and I felt that, it was generic. I would say generic solution that I had given, like I'm going to perform, I'm going to see the distribution of my y variable, see if there are outliers, perform any logarithmic transformation, then check for missing values. I'm going to impute missing values. So I felt that these are these were not personalized. It's something that I would do for any problem. So yeah.
Okay, and just to clarify, so this next question, this next case study, you're expecting that to build out a model. They're going to give you raw data, and your end result should be a model.
So basically, they will be giving a set of columns,
Okay.
some knowledge about the columns. This is the
Okay.
data that you have. What features would you like to test?
Okay.
Would you perform any statistical modeling?
Okay.
And then questions like, how's your model pipeline going to look like?
Okay. Cool.
What algorithms would you test with this kind of data set? So even coming up with an algorithm like I can't just say, I'm going to test every algorithm and see my accuracy. Probably decision tree might work better for that kind of problem. So how to even think in that particular way?
I would tell them I'm going to use PyCaret and actually test every single algorithm, and then like you could say that.
Yeah.
But
But even I did somewhat similar to that. I probably test with simpler algorithms, see my accuracy, and then jump to complex algorithms. As it's always better to try something simple, which is much more explainable than jumping onto complex algorithms.
yeah, so pulling up on Google, so you could do feature engineering recommendation system. So you sound like you have like a hybrid recommender system. Whether they're going to ask you that specifically or not, I'm not sure. But that's a huge question. So let me refer you to something else instead. Have you read the book Feature Engineering for Machine Learning?
No.
Okay. I think they. Let's see if I could find you. I think it's freely available online. Might be. Yeah. Okay. So hopefully this is it. Yeah. So here's a link. So there you go. So there's a link to it, and it's a great book. I would just take a look at this and and they have built a recommender, academic paper recommender, so that might be interesting for you to check out. But yeah, I guess without knowing too much about the industry, not knowing too much about what's going on, like it would just be in general, just understanding how to perform feature engineering would be useful. So definitely take a look through that book, because at the end of the day, like, your feature engineering is probably the biggest thing you could do to come up with a model that performs better than having to make it more complex. You know what I mean? So definitely read into that book and pick up some of those techniques. Maybe there might be stuff in there that you didn't know, and try to find opportunities to apply that in your own. And it looks like somebody here posted a thing on LinkedIn. I don't know what this is, but we can pull it up. Oh yeah, it's one of Eric Weber's posts. So it must be the post where he was talking about. Yes, exactly. This was the one. So Eric Weber has a post, 50 titles that you can look for that do not mention data scientist. And you'll be doing data science type of jobs. So there you go. Cool. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for hanging out for office hours. I appreciate you guys coming by and spending an hour with me. If you guys liked office hours, we're more than happy to have you as part of Data Science Dream Job. Here's the link right here, extended for the weekend, through the weekend. You could register for Data Science Dream Job at 70% off. That's dsdj.co/artists70. Not only would you have access to me multiple times a week, but we've got John Sebastian, we got Lediona, and we got Chris, and of course, Mr. Kyle, and a very vibrant Slack community. So check that out. Also, be sure to check out the Artists of Data Science podcast. A lot of cool stuff on that. If you're listening to this on the podcast, well, then you're already checking it out. In that case, thank you very much. Got a lot of interesting stuff happening in the next few months. Going to be some really cool people coming on the show. So definitely stick around. We'll do this again next week on the 25th. And looking forward to see you there. This is going to be up on YouTube and up on the podcast itself, most likely on Sunday. So keep an eye out. Also, keep in mind that registering for office hours also registers you for my email list and newsletter, which will be coming up soon. So I'll be sending you guys a lot of cool insights, cool just topics and learnings that I think will enrich your lives. So again, thank you for being here, and I appreciate you guys coming on and hanging out. Take care. Have a good weekend, everybody. Bye.